Namaste. My name is Preity Upala, and I am a global thought leader and a multimedia personality. Welcome to my podcast, The Preity Experience. Join me as I explore some of the most fascinating and crucial issues that affect our world today. I take a unique global perspective on these issues, and the very foundation of my insights is humanity and spirituality. I'm Preity Upala, and welcome to the Preity Experience.
Namaste. This is Preity Upala, and you are watching the Preity Experience. This is another exciting episode of Power Play with Preity. And this week, we have a very, very special guest with us, and we have a very interesting episode for you. So, my guest is the amazing Johns. And if you are active on Twitter and if you're a cricket fan, then you obviously have seen his amazing tweets, which go viral quite often. And this person is such a cricket fan and a lover and extremely informative, and has a lot of people who follow him and appreciate his passion for the sport. So let's bring on Johns, and we'll have a fans Q&A session, and then we'll move on to we have something special for you, so we'll move on to that. So just hang on a second while I bring my guest this week, Johns. Namaste, Johns. How are you? It's a pleasure to welcome you to the Preity Experience. How are you?
First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me into this chat show. I'm doing well. It has been a long week with WTC rain, then going to the 6 day. So it has been good cricket action in Southampton.
Wonderful. You are a big hit on Twitter. I love your tweets. You know, each tweet of yours almost goes viral. It's informative, and it's really amazing. And I think you have fans from all around the world who love your stuff. So keep doing the great work. And that's how we connected as well. So we have an exciting episode for our fans today. We'll do a question and answer session. Now, we asked already the fans to come up with their questions for you, and I had plenty, I had hundreds, but I picked a few that I thought would be the best, where people will learn, and which will be informative, and where they can take something back, and something to do, obviously, with the final. So most of these questions are to do with the WTC final. So let's go on, and then at the end of after the questions, we have something special for all of our audience members. So let's go for it. All right, the first question is, in your opinion, do you think that Mohammad Siraj should have played instead of Bumrah?
First of all, it's a hindsight question because if you look at the performance of Bumrah since 2018 when he made his debut in South Africa, he has been one of the main weapons for India and Virat Kohli in all formats. When he has picked 5 wicket haul, and he has made a great impact in different victories which India had from 2018 in South Africa or in England or in Australia. So it's not easy to put a youngster or inexperienced guy, if you call it as Siraj. Siraj has lots of experience in first class cricket and India A, but coming to the test level, he made his debut in Australia. And if you compare, if you can't compare with both of them, even though Bumrah hasn't been that great since the injury in different formats apart from IPL, but still you need to trust Bumrah because of his experience, and Virat Kohli did that, and India picked the right 11. In the match, New Zealand outclassed India, Not that India made any blunders or mistakes in team selection. They went with the right 11, the experienced ones who has been doing well for India under Virat Kohli over the years since 2014-15. So Virat Kohli trusted that, but they didn't deliver on the time. It was one of those matches which didn't go well for India, like in 2019 World Cup semi-final. So I don't think he should have played or not. But even if even I don't think it was between Siraj versus Bumrah. Everyone was speaking Shami versus Siraj or Ishan versus Siraj. Bumrah was almost the first pick in that bowling department. So I don't think the question arises before the test matches. Everyone asked this question only after the performance of Bumrah, which was poor in the final.
Wonderful answer, very nuanced. You're right. We did get the playing 11 correct. It was the best 11 we could come up with. It just didn't work out for us. And the conditions and the rain and everything just didn't help. You're absolutely right about that. We shouldn't be blaming the lineup. We just fell short, I think, and it was a match that could have been saved easily, which is, I think, sad for Indian fans everywhere. All
Yeah.
right, so which team do you think has the best batting lineup in the world today in tests?
I think it all depends on the conditions. If you look at in Australia or in India, India has that batting lineup. That is the one reason why India has been dominant since 2013. They haven't lost a single test series at home. Then they have won that two test series in Australia. Even most of them will tell there was no Warner, there was no Steve Smith, but they played against Pat Cummins, Nathan Leon, and Hazelwood during the 2018 series, and the same attack they delivered in 2020-21 as well. So if you need to look at those conditions, I think India has that upper hand in few countries. New Zealand has that upper hand in few countries like England or New Zealand. Because if you look at their batting unit, they have like Kane Williamson or Ross Taylor or Tom Latham, a new guy like Devon Conway. So they have the batting lineup to perform in some countries, but India also has the batting unit to perform like in Asian conditions or in Australia, etc.
Yeah, fantastic answer. There's no one team.
Yes.
Depending on the conditions, you have different ones. But would you say the top three are India, New Zealand, and Australia?
It's tough to tell who is the third. If you look at Australia, also has that loophole. They have the greatest modern day giant in Test cricket, Steve Smith. But if you look at other batting units, they have inexperience. Few guys are coming, like Cameron Guinness has been arrived. Then Will Pucovski is there. Then David Warner does not have great record in few countries, but he is one of the best batsmen in few countries as well. So they have issues. Even if you look at this there are few countries coming as well. England is also good. They have Ben Stokes, Joe Root is good in certain countries. They play spin so well. Apart from that, Aksha Patel show they did well in Sri Lanka, etc. So it all depends on those conditions. But two best batting unit faced off in the World Test Championship final.
Wonderful. Great answer. Hmm. Why was Bhuvaneshwar Kumar not picked for the World Test Championship final as well as the India versus England series?
If you look at Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's history, it has been injury prone. If you look at India has two T20 World Cups and one ODI World Cup coming in next 3 years. So he is one of the vital cog in the fast bowling department along with Jasprit Bumrah. So he does not, as per news, he can't bowl 20 overs or 25 overs in a day right now. Maybe he can improve and he might be included in the South Africa series as well. But as if now he is not that all right with his fitness, and that even he was injury prone in even in the IPL. He missed out few games. Even in the last IPL, he was ruled out. So his fitness has been the biggest worry, or else he would have been in the flight for India. Especially he can contribute with the bat as well, and he will like these conditions, especially the swing New Zealand bowlers generated. Bhuvneshwar Kumar would have been an asset in this team, but it all the faith was against Virat Kohli and the team, mainly due to the fitness issues of Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
Yeah, it's almost like I wish he could have been flown in just for the final and not stay
Yes.
for the series. But anyway, they couldn't pick it like that. Probably wouldn't have worked out. Um, out of New Zealand and India, whose pace attack is stronger?
Uh, as per similar to batting lineup, it all depends on the conditions. If you look, if New Zealand versus Australia, New Zealand versus India Test match was happening in MCG or GABA, etc., India would have been the upper hand because of the bowling unit they have.
Mm.
But in England or in New Zealand, then New Zealand has that upper hand with overcast conditions, the swing they generates. And if final would have been in India, then India has the upper hand. So it all depends on the conditions, similar to batting unit. Wherever the few these two batting lineup, maybe some team has upper hand in Australia, or some team has
Mhm.
upper hand in England, or some team has upper hand in New Zealand. So it all depends on the conditions. We don't have a dominant side like 2000s Australia or 1980s West Indies who has conquered everywhere.
Yes.
Every team has issues in this generation, but the slighter issues are for New Zealand and India. That was the major reason why both came into the WTC final.
Yeah, that's a very very a good answer. Bowling just as with batting, it really depends on the conditions, which is very very interesting. There is no clear winner. Do you think the rain cost us this match?
Uh, I don't think rain caused this match, because if you look at the day six, it was the sunniest day ever we had in Southampton in the World Test Championship, and India lost 8 wickets in the second innings on day six itself. There was no rain, or we got that 98 or 90 plus overs in a day. So I don't think rain caused the match, but there are some areas which caused as well. If you look at Virat Kohli and Rahana was going strong on day two, but rain came, and when in the day three, India collapsed as well. So that break has arrived, but still, even if New Zealand also has got these rain issues on day four or day five, so it happened to both sides. The main reason was the batting collapse in day six. There was no rain, it was sunshine, it was one of the best days to bat on. Even Sunil Gavaskar told that it was one of the best days to bat on, but the short selection and one of those off days for Indian batting units, which caused the WTC final.
Yeah, wonderful. I think I'm sure fans would like to I don't want to say blame, but they come, there are so many there's so much thinking to do. Why did this happen? Why did we not make it? And I suppose obviously the rain is a something obvious because we did lose 2 days. But good to hear. Um, this is an interesting question. We did have one reserve day. Do you think we should have had two reserve days because we lost 2 full days of play?
I don't think it does not make sense. If you ask for two reserve days, then some people will say three, some people will say four, some people will say we need to complete 540 overs. But it's not worthy, or it's not applicable in cricket. We have one reserve day. It has been there in ODI World Cup as well. So we completed the match. So I don't think we need more reserve days. uh, the broadcasters, or there are lots of factors which come into factor. Not only cricket, there are revenue, there are broadcasters, and Test cricket is not going through that good phase apart from the big three who has those revenue. So it might take the schedule from other teams. So I don't think ICC or any board will allow more reserve days, etc.
That's so interesting. Well, if the ICC is trying to make Test cricket more attractive, I don't know if this final is going to do that. Obviously, there's a billion people who are very disappointed, and they think that it wasn't exactly fair for their team. So we shall see if this final actually has had any effect on the popularity of Test cricket, at least from Indian fans. Um, all things considered, do you think it was a fair and even contest, or do you agree that the conditions were stacked against India from the beginning, like the weather, the pitch, the fact that New Zealand played two matches before? All this affects their confidence. So, do you think going in, it was stacked against us to begin with?
Even before the final, if you look at most of them predicted that New Zealand has that upper hand. In England conditions, it's almost similar to what they get in New Zealand.
Yes.
So they have those upper hand, but I don't think weather has played a big part. But both sides has those effect. Even as I said earlier, the day six was the best to bat on. But
Yes.
India didn't utilize that. They should have easily drawn the test match, but they lost wickets in certain stages. Some of the poor shot from certain batsmen. So it happens to any side on a day. So that was the wrong day for India on day six. So India lost the test match. I don't think other factors played a role. Everyone knew that conditions will be supporting New Zealand, and the two test matches were scheduled in January as well before New Zealand qualified into the final. So even India came on June 2nd, and India had the 16-day preparation. They played an intra-squad match, so they were also well prepared. But a few factors came against them. A few poor shot, as I said earlier, the day six was the best for batting, but India didn't utilize that conditions to their extent.
Hmm. Very, very good answer. And one more question about this final. We had our chances. We didn't use them. We didn't make good. There were many points in the game where it could have turned in our favor. For, as you watch the whole final, where do you think we lost it? Which day, which session? When do you personally think it was game over for India? Or was it until the very last session, was it open?
There were two parts. First was New Zealand tailenders scoring those 80 plus
Yes.
runs. That was one of the biggest turnaround in this match. If you look at after the test match, that 80 runs made a pretty huge impact in this test match as well. They got a lead around 30 something. If India could have reduced that lead, or India could have gone with that lead, so that was the one major aspect which India lost the plot. Even from 2018, that has been an issue. If you look
Mhm.
at the South Africa series, there was Rabada, Philander was there. Then England series, Sam Curran was there. Then in Australia series, Pat Cummins. So it has been an issue for India in last 3 years, but they didn't had any answers to that. Same happened in the final. Kyle Jameson scored important runs. Southey scored important runs. Even Bolt scored some runs as well. So almost 80 runs was scored in the last 4 wickets. So that was one of the major turnaround in the test match. Then the batting collapse in second innings on day six. We can't complain what happened in first innings or anything, because it was tough conditions. Everyone knew India would have bowled out before 250 something. But the issue came in day six when sunshine was there. Some of the poor shot from Indian batters, and the tail ender runs which New Zealand scored in the first innings. That too was the major factors which came against India, and we need to credit to New Zealand as well. They played some very good cricket on through the 6 days.
Wow.
They always hang around this match. Whenever there was an issue, they used to someone used to rise up. Kyle Jameson rised up. Kane Williamson rised up. Ross Taylor was there. So we should give that credit to them.
Wonderful. Beautifully said. And finally, yes, New Zealand has won the World Test Championship. They are the champions. But to be the best in the world, you have to play in all surfaces, in all conditions. You have to have a better head to head against other teams. You have to have a great away record and beat other countries in those countries. And when you look at India and New Zealand, would you agree that India is still the best team, all things considered, at least on paper, maybe? Because they have played in different conditions. They beat Australia in Australia, and they have had a lot of away wins. So, what's your sort of a summation of that?
I think India is a far better side than New Zealand. In certain countries, New Zealand has that upper hand, like in England or in home conditions at New Zealand, etc. But if you look at all round, like if they have played a test match in Australia, or if they have played test match in Sri Lanka or UAE, or even in India, etc., India could have upper hand.
Yes,
So India is a better all round side. If you look at the team as well, India has one of the greatest off spinners of
yes,
all time. India has the best spin all-rounder in this generation. Then India has Bumrah, Shami, Ishant. Then in the reserve bench, they have Siraj, Thakur, Umesh Yadav, Avesh Khan. Many others are coming in. In the India's issue has been the batting. The middle order has been a big worry since 2020. I hope they'll be correcting very soon in the England series. But if you look at an all-round side, India has been in the top for last 7 years under Virat Kohli. Since 2016, India has been the number one test side. Apart from few months, etc., New Zealand has been number one, etc. But still, that was the one major reason. Even if you look at the from 2018, when India traveled to overseas, they fought really hard. They won test matches in South Africa, in
hmm,
England. They won two series in Australia. So it's not an easy thing to do. But we need to give credit to New Zealand as well. Uh, they didn't had a great series away conditions like Australia. They lost 3-0, or in Sri Lanka they drew the test series, but they were totally dominant at home,
yes,
and they got a few conditions in England as well. But still, they played some good cricket. Even in, as I said earlier, the day six was evenly matched. India could have easily drawn the test match, but in New
yes.
Zealand played some amazing cricket on day six.
Wonderful. I think the saddest thing about all of this is that yes, we could have won it, but at the very least, we could have drawn it, and we weren't able to do that, which is, I think, something that the team definitely needs to come together and think about for the future. All right. So thank you for those question and answers.